Let's get started with cloud-native Java applications on Kubernetes, an open-sourced hands-on workshop. Today, deploy a container to Kubernetes. As you know, Kubernetes is an open-source system for automating deployment, scaling, and management of containerized applications. This will be a simplified view. What do we need to specify the deployment for our articles microservice to deploy the service to Kubernetes? First, we have to specify one or more YAML files. These are human-readable files with a data serialization language. Here we have a simplified view of the specifications. First, we need to create a deployment specification. Here we specify how to identify and control the microservice in a pod in Kubernetes. We need to specify a service which routes requests to the pod to our microservice. Let us have first a simplified view at what do we need for the deployment and what we already have in place. We have an existing articles container image in the IBM Container Registry. We have a Kubernetes service on IBM Cloud. We're using a free cluster with one worker node. Now take a closer look to the deployment section in our YAML file. Here we specify how to deploy the articles microservice from the container registry to a pod in Kubernetes. We provide the name and the version information to identify the microservice inside the Kubernetes cluster. We add the information where to find the container resource. And we add the port information to access our running microservice inside the pod. With the name and port information, the microservice is ready to be found inside Kubernetes. Let us move on to the service specification to access the microservice. To access the articles microservice, we need to specify a service. A service contains the information how to route requests to the pod with our microservice. In the service specification, we add a name for the service to identify him. We also add the name and port information of our articles microservice so that the service can route the requests to our microservice. The service itself will be accessed by its name and the actual node port, as we can see later. With the deployment and the service specification in place, we can apply the YAML configuration to Kubernetes cluster using the kubectl command line. We use the kubectl apply command to apply the specification to Kubernetes. Let us execute a predefined bash script to automate the deployment to Kubernetes on IBM Cloud. That automates all needed steps. Here we see the content of the bash script. It deletes existing deployment and applies the new one. We extract the public IP of the cluster and the port of the node inside our cluster so we can access the service which routes us to the articles microservice, as we can see here. So what is the remaining step? Get your hands dirty, have fun, and provide feedback to our workshop. The links to the Cloud Native Starter project and the related workshop part are below in the description. Try it out and have fun. Bye.